Mercedes-Benz GLE-Class 4x4 2015 car review. Picking up where the outgoing M-Class left off, the Mercedes-Benz GLE 4x4 will go up against luxury off-roaders including the BMW X5, Audi Q7, and Range Rover Sport. In fact, this represents a facelift to the M-Class rather than a new car, but since Mercedes-Benz changed its naming strategy, we're treating it as a new model. It's also the first Mercedes SUV to offer a plug-in hybrid powertrain. A cautious restyling of the old car's recognizable looks include new front and rear lights as well as sculptured wings and tailpipes integrated into the rear diffuser. These tweaks make the GLE 15mm longer and 9mm wider than the M-Class. It drives much the same, and while it's more comfortable than the coupe version of the GLE, it still lags behind its rivals when it comes to on-road manners or enjoyment. Choice of 4 engines, as well as conventional 4- and 6-cylinder diesel engines. You can choose a powerful petrol V8 performance model or a plug-in hybrid. Combining 436 bhp with CO2 emissions of just 78 GkM, the part petrol part electric GLE 500D 4MATIC can be topped up at a charging station, or by using a wall-box charger or conventional power outlet in as little as 2 hours. It promises 85.6 miles per gallon on paper and can be driven for 18.5 miles using electricity alone. Again, in theory, at speeds of up to 80 miles per hour. The two diesels on offer include the 201 bhp 4-cylinder GLE 250D, which emits 140 GkM of CO2 and promises 52.3 miles per gallon, or the 254 bhp V6 GLE 350D 4MATIC. This has a claimed efficiency of 44.1 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 169 GkM. Both come with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Topping the power bill is the Mercedes AMG GLE-63 S4MATIC, which is a 577 bhp, 5.5-litre twin-turbo V8 that hits 62 miles per hour in 4.2 seconds. We'll be testing this model shortly, so keep an eye out for the review. Works off-road, as well as 4 on-road driving modes: individual, comfort, slippery and sport. GLE drivers can select an off-road program for wilderness driving. If you choose the optional off-road engineering package, then Off-Road Plus can be selected, which uses a reduction gear and interaxle differential lock to generate grip in slippery situations. The air suspension can be raised to provide a ground clearance of 285mm and a fording depth of 60mm. Reinforced underfloor paneling protects the underside of the car. Off-road animations featuring slope angle, tilt angle, steering angle and heading are also displayed on the 8-inch screen. You can also use this screen to display camera views of what's in front of the front wheels along with a bird's eye view around the car, something that's incredibly useful when driving off-road when visibility is limited. We've tried this car out on some very rugged terrain and can confirm it all performs very impressively indeed, with a huge amount of articulation possible between wheels and the capacity to scale seriously steep slopes with ease. High spec with a focus on safety. All models come with collision prevention, crosswind assist, eco stop start and dynamic select controller. You can choose to add a 360-degree or reversing camera, as well as an automatic tailgate, and soft or automatic closing doors. Performance: you've got a trio of engine options providing Mercedes-Benz GLE performance, a pair of diesels and a petrol-electric hybrid. All use automatic gearboxes, a 9-speed for diesels and a 7-speed for the hybrid, and all come with 4MATIC all-wheel drive in the UK market. Diesel GLE: at the bottom rung of the ladder there's a 2.1-litre, 4-cylinder diesel engine. Dubbed the GLE 250D, this is our pick of the range since it blends acceptable running costs for a car of this size with the lowest list price, yet still drives well. It makes 201 bhp and maximum torque of 500 Nm available between 1,600 and 1,800 revolutions per minute. That's enough for a 062 miles per hour sprint in 8.6 seconds and a top speed of 130 miles per hour. On the road this engine works admirably. It's a little clattery, as many 4-cylinder diesels are, but actually seems to work best with the 9-speed automatic gearbox of all the combinations we tried. There's enough torque to propel you along nicely, and overtaking slower traffic on a country lane won't cause too much of a problem either. Next up is the GLE-350D, which we've yet to drive in this SUV version of the GLE. We have tried it in the coupe, though, and found it smoother than the 250 as well as faster. That's not going to be enough to justify its extra cost for many buyers, though. This model has 255 bhp and 620 Nm between a far-border range of 1,600 and 2,400 revolutions per minute, so it stands to reason it should work slightly better on the road. Hybrid GLE 500e 4MATIC. This interesting car mixes high performance with low running costs, because it features an electric propulsion system as well as a 3-litre V6 petrol engine. Its engine makes 329 bhp and 480 Nm of torque, while the electric motor integrated into a 7-speed automatic gearbox generates a further 115 bhp and 340 Nm, meaning you can have a total output of 436 bhp and 650 Nm on offer if both work together. It's in this configuration you'll be able to cover 0.62 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds. It can be plugged into the mains to charge the battery too, which allows it to run on electric power exclusively for up to 18.5 miles. During our test drive we found that range to be entirely realistic, thanks in no small part to the 4 drive modes you can select to alter the way the petrol engine and electric system interact with each other. You change these via the selector switch on the center console. In hybrid mode the system decides entirely on its own which of the 2 propulsion methods best suits the conditions. Switching to E-mode locks out the V6 engine until the batteries are discharged, while SF preserves electrical power until you want it, for instance in a city center after a long motorway drive. Charge mode does exactly what it says. It charges the batteries when driving or when a vehicle is standing still. Cleverly, the car can also manage its application of both systems to take into account the route you're driving on, discharging while climbing an incline and charging while going downhill, or saving electrical power for an urban area where quieter, zero-emission motoring is more attractive. Our only criticism of this system is that the petrol engine is gruff. You really notice when it kicks in. Handling. There's a huge amount of technology installed on the GLE to make it better to drive around corners. Every version gets Mercedes 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which means there are astonishing levels of grip available. You also get a number of naughtily named systems such as Curve Dynamic Assist, Crosswind Assist, Collision Prevention Assist and ESP. These all use electronics to keep you pointing in the right direction. On the road, in the main this is a good car to drive through corners, though its body does tend to move around a bit if you barrel in too fast, so it's best to keep the speed down. The steering is on the light side, but feels accurate and responsive. That's with all the safety kit switched off, though. Leave them on and to say it takes a bit of getting used to is an understatement. It's an unusual feeling having the wheel tug left and right when you're not expecting to. And we suspect some will find this disconcerting to start with if they're not expecting it. Off-road, but one area the electronics quite obviously help massively is when the going gets tough. In fact, we carried out some extremely challenging off-road driving in the GLE, and came away impressed with its performance. As ever, though, quite how proficient it is depends on how much you've spent. Paying for sports specification doesn't get you much in the way of help in this regard. In fact, the car sits on steel suspension which has been lowered. You do get Drive Select, which allows you to choose between sport, comfort, slip or off-road or customizable individual settings for the steering, gearbox and throttle response. Moving to Amg Line is where things start to get interesting. This nets you the automatic air suspension system, which is crucial to tackling more difficult terrain, since it allows you to adjust the vehicle's height at the touch of a button. Those after the ultimate in 4x4 capability will want to tick the box on their optional extras list labeled off-road package. This will secure you a huge range of systems and parts to transform the car into a go-anywhere machine. There's a center differential capable of 100% locking for ultimate traction, extra protection under the car, a low-range gearbox, manual mode for the gearbox, 3 selectable ride heights and special programs for the electronic braking and stability control systems. You get the Off-Road Plus mode for the Drive Select 2, which is aimed specifically at the most extreme driving conditions. That little lot enables impressive things from the GLE. It is capable of scaling incredibly steep hills, driving at angles it doesn't feel possible to, and wading through water up to 600 millimeters deep. There's always enough traction to get you out of a situation that would reach most cars. While it's difficult to directly compare the GLE to some of Land Rover's products in this regard, we suspect its capabilities are approaching the famed British company's Range Rover Sport. That's quite an achievement. Equipment. There are 3 distinct trim levels on offer here: Sport, Amg Line and Designo Line. Standard Mercedes-Benz GLE equipment. At the bottom of the range you've got Sport specification. This still comes with a wealth of kit. The car gets a set of 19-inch alloy wheels along with an automatic parking system and rear parking camera. There are automatic main beam headlights, the dynamic select choice of driving modes: Comfort, Sport, Individual and Off-Road, a powered tailgate, LED headlamps and tinted windows. Inside you get the command infotainment system along with an 8-inch screen to display its output. It's controlled by a touchpad and includes DAB digital radio. You also get heated front seats, keyless start and climate control. Moving up to Amg Line secures you a more premium offering, including 20-inch alloy wheels, an AMG body kit and adaptive air suspension. Inside the car there's an AMG steering wheel, Forza leather sports seats, better brakes and some stainless steel pedals. At the top of the range you find Designo Line, which includes a 360-degree camera for even more accurate parking. There's a closing aid for the door and boot lid, a panoramic electric sunroof, heated and cooled multi-contour front seats including massage function and memory package, running boards down the side of the car and even a heated steering wheel. This top trim gets you a high-quality Harman Kardon sound system too, along with heating for the rear seats and even temperature-controlled cup holders to keep your drink either warm or cold. Optional Mercedes-Benz GLE accessories. As with many cars at this price point, there's a huge array of optional extras to dissect when ordering your car. Many are grouped into packages to make it easier to decipher, such as the Premium and Premium Plus packages for Sport and Amg Line cars. The former includes the 360-degree camera, memory seating, a panoramic electric sunroof and running boards. The latter gets all of that but adds the Harman Kardon sound system and keyless entry and go. The driving assistance package includes active blind spot assist, warns and then stops you from driving into a car in your blind spot. Active lane keeping assist brakes and steers you back into your lane if you drift without indicating. Brake Assist Plus, which provides more braking power in the event of a collision. Radar-guided cruise control and an automatic braking system. You can also order the Night package, which is a styling upgrade including wheels and black accents. The Entertainment package, including TV tuner and screens mounted on the backs of the front seats. And the Off-Road package, which will appeal to hardcore off-roaders thanks to the center differential lock, Off-Road Plus driving mode, reinforced underbody protection and low-range gearbox capability. Comfort. As a luxury SUV, you'd expect Mercedes-Benz GLE comfort levels to be pretty high, and in the main, they are. The seats are excellent, with lots of support and adjustability when necessary. The front ones are heated on all models too, while higher spec cars also enjoy leather, massaging, ventilation, or memory functions. In general, noise insulation is extremely accomplished on the GLE, Wind and road noise are well suppressed and the engines aren't that noisy either. Special mention must go to the plug-in hybrid here, because it's capable of decent distance on electric power alone, but you certainly notice when the petrol engine barks into life. We'd prefer a little less movement on the Amg air suspension we tried, but we haven't had a go in one with standard suspension at this point. Under fast cornering and heavy braking there's a fair bit of body roll evident, and that's only going to make your passengers feel nauseous. Practicality: it's 15mm longer and 9mm wider than the outgoing M-Class, so Mercedes-Benz GLE Practicality should be better than ever. Interestingly though, the boot measures exactly the same, 690 litres with the rear seats in place and 2010 litres with them folded down. And that's without taking into account the hybrid powertrain, which eats a significant 210 litres from both capacities thanks to batteries under the boot floor. This also makes the loading height far higher, and thus it's a significantly less practical vehicle. Inside you've got acres of room, though, with more than enough room for 4 adults, and 5 if the 5th is happy to squeeze between the back seat passengers. You've got a large storage space between the front seats along with a large glove box, nets on the rear of the front seats and door pockets and each door big enough to hold larger bottles. Each GLE gets a powered tailgate, which is a definite plus point, and you're also treated to a self-parking system comprising sensors and a camera. Those intending on using the GLE to tow will want to take advantage of the optional powered retractable tow bar, which goes well with the automatic suspension because the latter is capable of self-leveling to adjust for uneven loads. Safety: as usual on vehicles from this manufacturer, a huge array of Mercedes-Benz GLE safety kit serves to keep occupants, other drivers and pedestrians safe. You can also specify a large amount of optional kit to help further. Highlights from the standard kit list include an active bonnet which rises when you hit a pedestrian, airbags dotted around the cabin, an electronic handbrake with hill start assist, a fatigue detection and warning system, an automatic collision warning and braking system, crosswind assist which uses targeted braking to prevent strong gusts blowing the car offline, automatic headlamps and ISOFIX child seat points for the 2 outer rear seats. You also get a traffic sign recognition system to remind you of the speed limit and an anticipatory system which detects an impending crash and prepares the car, shutting windows and pretensioning seatbelts. Optional Mercedes-Benz GLE safety equipment. The driving assistance package nets you a host of safety features including an active blind spot assist function which prevents you from steering into cars in your blind spot. Active lane keeping assist which steers you back into your lane if the car detects you veering unintentionally, a brake assist function providing the optimum braking force for the conditions, and adaptive cruise control. On the GLE 350D you can optionally select the active curve system, which aims to make the car more stable through corners. Adding the premium package to your GLE will also net you a 360-degree camera which will make parking far easier, along with an automatic parking system. There's nothing major to worry about when considering Mercedes-Benz GLE reliability. It's something the firm has focused on for years, and we certainly didn't spot anything to suggest things will be any different here. Many of the engine and gearbox combinations have been used on other models in the firm's range with no reported issues. That said, the hybrid model does seem a little complex, and since there's a huge amount of electrical hardware on board there is a lot that could potentially go wrong. It's a similar case with the 9-speed automatic gearbox, which is a very complex piece of equipment that's still relatively new.